Hey shoppers, it's Chad. Apology for the delay. We have had a hell of a time with the latest episode. We recently changed podcasting hosts, but hey, you're in luck. I got good news. If you're hearing this, you must already be subbed to the right feed. Congrats! But if you do want to spread the word about the show to your friends, or tell other people who listen to it to make sure they're on the right feed, make sure you use the feed at URL paranoiashop.libsyn.com/RSS. We'll have links for it as well on all of our social media and the Twitters. For the record, if you ever need to resub, going through iTunes and our other podcasting services will now direct you to the right feed. Apologies for all the maintenance and all these notifications. We've been unable to get new episodes due to this hosting problem. Just don't ever use Podomatic. They're pretty bad. I don't feel bad using this time to besmirch a terrible, terrible company. We've had a ton of episode ideas we're looking forward to record, and cool guests lined up, and now we're just waiting, and we got it all lined up. I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm rambling on. And of course, don't forget to go sub to our other brother and sister shows, mostly brother shows. There's like a very few girls in the network. It's not by choice, just how it works. Our other brother and sister shows in the Explosive Magico family, many of whom have their own separate feeds now. So make sure you subscribe to Explosive Magico, but also all the other shows like Climax and My Arms Are Lasers. Many, many great things. Anyway, guys, enjoy this next episode.
Footstep after footstep, you climb the rocky incline. You approach the mountain summit, deep in the primeval jungles of Chile. You stare down into the crater before you, past the acrid smoke to the roiling molten core below. You are on the ashen lips of an active volcano. Your female companion at your side, you watch the swirling magma, waiting for something. Then, at last, you see it. Movement in the lava, something living, rising from the liquid rock and metal, shaking it off like a fresh bath and glowing red-hot itself. It turns its strange reptilian maw to the sky and bellows an otherworldly scream. It demands sacrifice. You turn to your companion, kiss her goodbye, and shove her over the edge. The beast below rumbles with anticipation. It is time.
To go to eHarmony? Is that like is that the ad?
Yeah, that's an eHarmony ad, yes.
You just sacrifice your loved one to a volcano god?
While they play xylophone music?
Yeah. There's just like the old man from Match or whatever Harmony is like, we've matched up millions of potential sacrificers and new potential sacrificees.
Welcome to Paranoia Shop, everybody. I'm Chad. No, I'm not Chad. I'm Aaron.
I don't know if that was a real flub or not. I'm Chad.
And I'm Aaron.
Episode 15.
15 out of 15. I don't know what that means.
Technically, there was that lost episode where the government made us take us down, so that was...
Yeah.
15 of 16 have made it.
If you had downloaded it right at the moment we uploaded it, then maybe you got that secret episode.
But if you did download it also, you should probably move to another state because the black fans are already coming for you.
Check the deep web.
Yeah, check the deep web, which doesn't even exist anymore. They got most of it.
Yeah,
when the Silk Road went down. Guys,
anyway, welcome.
We missed you.
Welcome, episode 115.
No, it's not TV.
Shit, it's not TV.
Not TV numbering. It's 15. We're returning to probably my favorite topic. I'm not going to say that. That's kind of mean to the other topics.
It certainly is one of our most popular topics ever. And we promised we were going to come back to it.
I get it. Return to Cryptozoology Island?
Episode 15. Did I do that?
No.
So, as you probably know, cryptozoology is the study of beasts or creatures that are rumored to have been seen, but there's no concrete scientific evidence of their existence yet.
It's also the term to use for yourself instead of saying, "Oh, I'm a monster hunter." You just say cryptozoologist,
And it sounds way more official.
Cool. You can actually get away with saying that at the bars for about like 30 more seconds before they ask you what that means.
Yeah.
And you just tell them you're a teacher.
And then you say, "Oh, I hang out in the woods and look for Bigfoot."
Oh, that's so... Yeah, you don't... But you just kind of like mumble the Bigfoot part. Just hang out in the woods, just like do research and just look for Bigfoot. I have some pretty weird ones.
I have some weird ones, too.
Last time we covered the Mothman. We covered the Goat Man. A lot of animal
There was
men.
a Toad Man.
There's a Toad Man.
Animal men.
I went a little bit deeper on this one. I went more in the... If our podcast is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think this is a little bit more in the Guardians of the Galaxy type realm.
Yeah,
or maybe Blade 3.
I definitely went for like the really weird ones across the country, across the world.
I hope we didn't pick the same ones.
I doubt it.
Well, I didn't do Lava Tiki God that you did from your story. What is that all about?
Okay, so that particular beast I was referring to is known as the Chiruf. It's a large anthropophagous mythical creature found in the Mapuche mythology of the indigenous people of south central Chile.
You just made up all of those words. The Chiruf is a character from Chim Chimney, whatever that movie is with Chim Chimney Chiru.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with the flying car.
No, wait, that's not right. Chim Chim Chiru?
Is that...
No, that's Mary Poppins? That's Mary Poppins.
They're all kind of the same movie.
So the Chiruf is an evil humanoid creature made of rock and magma. It's said that the Chiruf inhabits the magma pools found deep within Chilean volcanoes and are the source of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions.
All earthquakes?
According to the people of Chile.
Okay.
Chiruf are also said to be the source of magicians' ardent stones, which are meteorites and volcanic stones that cause damage in volcanic regions. They're tossed out. I guess they're monster poop, according to legend.
All right, I'm going to say, this already sounds like a super overpowered crypto monster.
Oh, yeah, it's super OP. It's
this
lava
is a god.
monster.
You brought a demigod to us.
Except it's not a god, because if you listen to this description, it's like, oh, it's actually like a creature.
Okay.
So, the only way to abate the Chiruf's appetite for destruction was to satiate the beast's taste for human flesh by throwing a sacrificial victim into the bowels of its volcanic home. Much like the European dragon, the Chiruf's preferred delicacy came in the form of virginal maidens.
So it didn't have to be someone that you dated for a long time and loved for a long time.
No, they just gotta be virginal, I guess.
Okay, right. I just want to make sure. It doesn't have to also be... Can a guy be a maiden? I just want to clarify this for future reference and also my own use.
I think a guy is a mandin.
That's not true.
I just made that.
No, I just want to make sure, because it just seems kind of shitty of like, your story was great. I just want to make sure it's not like, oh, honey, let's go on our honeymoon. We've been saving ourselves for marriage. You're the one who has to go.
Some investigators also consider the possibility that the legend of the Chiruf may actually be based, albeit loosely, on sightings of an actual biological entity which is capable of not only surviving but flourishing in the incredible heat of molten rock.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say dragon about like 20 words back?
Yeah.
Dragon?
Some people think it might be it's a dragon-like creature that sightings have apparently been made of, this thing that lives in molten rock and is able to sustain.
I was picturing like a Fantastic Four thing type body.
No, it's like a reptile, like a fire salamander.
That's not even fair at all. Okay.
So, and apparently there's been sightings of this thing that sort of bubbles up from the magma and then goes back beneath, and they think that might be a loose basis for this legend of the Chiruf.
So we're also looking at this as, just to think about its motivations, as a fire lizard monster, still saying it counts as a demigod, I think.
It could be, but
I'm
it's
just saying,
like a god. If a god is a species,
responsible for all earthquakes and eruptions, that sort of thing.
I think that might be mythological.
Well, yeah, unless there's a sacrifice given, that is showing some sentience to this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is, I am displeased, I will reach out and let these humans know how I feel.
Right. So some people think that the Chiruf might be like a distantly related or parallel evolved to be like the creatures on the bottom of the ocean that live in heat thermal vents. Like tube worms or whatever.
Okay.
That can sustain really high pressure and
tube
intensity
worms.
and eat minerals or whatever, but these live in lava. But there's also an alternate theory, which is that the original Mapuche legend, that Chiruf was actually a giant snake that is a parallel to another snake that lives under the seafloor that generates sea quakes and tsunamis.
But it's a separate monster.
So it might be a relative of this other monster that the Mapuche people believe in.
That feels like you're spinning that off of people already believed on the Poochie the dog people. That they already are on board the underground monster. And
like,
well, this is his cooler, newer, radder brother monster.
So you're saying that that the Charoof is in fact the smoke to the Sub-Zero of the god they already had.
I think the Charoof is the Shadow the Hedgehog to the Sonic the Hedgehog of underwater earthquake monsters.
Yeah. So some people think that it might be also related to the earth goddess of the Mapuche people called Pachamama, or
Sorry,
maybe
not to laugh at your fake god, but
there's also the Minkokau, which is a giant earthworm.
Oh, I like that. Wait, let's go back into more giant worms.
And they think that all of these giant serpents might originally be mythical explanations of natural phenomena and religious concepts.
Giant earthworm, though, is the least cool of the monsters to worship and or believe in. Because dragon, yeah, badass, it can eat you, whatever. Underground goddess woman, sure, but just a giant earthworm is still just like, oh, hey guys, I'm just a giant earthworm, watch out. Can't tell what end is my face and which one's my butt.
Don't make fun of that giant earthworm. He'll make an earthquake on you.
But, what is he? He doesn't even have a mouth, right? How do earthquakes eat?
They have a mouth and a butt. That's all they have.
But you can't even see it. It's hidden.
It lives in lava. That was the Mapuche. No, that was the
Poochie the dog.
No. It was the...
I got it in your head.
The Charoof of the Mapuche people legend.
I like the truth. I would like to take a hard veering from the Charoof.
Okay.
A little bit closer back to the taste from the earlier cryptids. This is a lesser-known American monster you might have heard of called the Flatwoods monster. The Flatwoods monster has described to be at least 2 feet tall with a black body and a dark glowing face. Now, the descriptions of it, it's kind of bonkers, because you're like, whatever, standard, just humanoid. The head is elongated, shaped like a sideways diamond, and is having non-human eyes, and a large circular cowling appeared behind the head. So,
I can't even picture that.
You can't even picture that.
He has a diamond face that glows?
It's a diamond face. You understand why these descriptions might come into play in a second. But he sounds like an Adventure Time character.
I know. He sounds like I am Prismo.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like a Prismo. Some accounts record that the creature appeared to have no visible arms due to its incredible speed, but other accounts have said that it has long, stringy arms protruding from the front of its body. So either it's so fast you can't see its arms.
What does that even mean? Like, its arms are moving so fast?
You ever do that thing where you just run around on the ground and you just keep your arms straight at your sides and you feel like a fucking idiot? It would just be that, but no arms. So just imagine like a giant, humanoid thing just running around screaming.
So it has a glowing diamond head, and it runs with its arms at its sides.
I think it's time I show you the picture of the Flatwoods monster.
It seems like
which of course we will put up online. This is the closest depiction of the Flatwoods monster.
What?
It looks like... To describe it to you, it looks like someone took a small side character from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
and turned it into a monster.
This is Salt Shaker with a light bulb head.
It's pretty ridiculous. Okay, so this monster, which I had never heard of before.
Where is it found?
Braxton County, West Virginia.
It's always in West Virginia.
Yeah, the good old woodlands of West Virginia, where most of the accounts have seen the monster. And also, not only do you imagine this weird, now either armless or thin-armed giant pawn, chess pawn monster, but it has also been seen with a large, pulsating red ball of light that hovered above or rested on the ground, so that's associated with the monster. So the red ball believe it is his powered craft. So it's like it's a weird oblong monster that also might have a tiny go-kart of a spaceship that just kind of hangs out with
See, I thought it was like Link, and he had a little fairy with him.
Oh, yeah, I guess it could be a Navi. But at the time, because this was the 1950s when it was first discovered.
They didn't understand it.
Shigeru Miyamoto had not gotten to make Legend of Zelda, had not yet gone into the woods to inspire Zelda.
He had not put on his human suit as the Flatwood monster.
Yeah, exactly. The earliest report is from September 12th, 1952. Again, the 1950s. Just think about it. 2 brothers, Edward and Fred May, and their friend and Tommy, who are all ages 13 through 10, witnessed a bright object across the sky. They followed the noise into the woods, where they encountered said monster. They also noticed they had a dog with them, that as soon as they got close to it, the dog ran ahead out of sight and began barking frantically, and moments later ran back with its tail between its legs.
Oh, I was afraid they were like, and then its head was
No, I am never on board. I don't know
Leave the dogs alone.
Leave the dogs alone, monsters and storytellers of monsters. After they went about a quarter mile, the group reached the top of a hill where they reportedly saw a large pulsating ball of fire about 50 feet to the right. They also detected a pungent mist that made their eyes and noses burn. So this monster smells.
Sprayed those.
It has like a skunk smell.
It has a skunk smell, or just ate way too many bad McDonald's.
Yeah. They then followed two more small lights over to the left of the object, and underneath a nearby oak tree, they revealed with their flashlight the creature, who emitted a shrill, hissing noise before gliding towards them, changing direction, and then heading off towards the red light. Terrifying. They ran home, contacted the local sheriff, Mr. Robert Carr, and Mr. A. Lee Stewart, co-owner of the Braxton Democrat, a local newspaper. They're doing their jobs. As boys, they are immediately doing what they're supposed to do. They conducted a bunch of interviews and returned back to the site where reported a sickening, burnt metallic odor still prevailing. So there was some sort of like actual smell that adults who should have more sense noticed.
Both a policeman and a newspaper smelled this metallic.
That's a newspaper man.
Newspaperman.
Yeah, a living newspaper like the Bill from the Schoolhouse Rock cartoon.
I'm just a Bill and going into the woods, looking for a monster I see there.
They found no exact traces, though Stewart visited the site of the encounter for a second time and discovered two elongated tracks in the mud, as well as traces of a thick black liquid. I bet he drank some of it. I bet he ate some of it. Like the 1950s good old boys probably like, that's not oil. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. He does the thing like with hard narcotics cops do with the cocaine. He puts his thumb in it and then puts it in his mouth. He's like, yep, that's pure grade monster oil.
Now, for a while, as in that day, they assumed it might have been a UFO, as there had been no traffic in the Woodlands area for a year, and then later found out it was just a 1940s pickup by a local named Max Lockhart, who had gone to the site earlier to look for the alien himself.
Oh man, it was just truck oil.
That truck, I just ate some truck oil. There were several more witness statements and other accounts, including the story of a mother and her 21-year-old daughter, who should have, 21-year-olds, they got it mostly figured out, who claimed to have encountered a creature with the same appearance and odor a week prior to the September 12th incident.
What?
The encounter reportedly affected the daughter so badly that she was confined to Clarksburg Hospital for 3 weeks. They also gathered a statement from the mother of Eugene Lemon, in which she said that at the approximate time of the crash, her house had been violently shaken and her radio had cut out for 45 minutes. And a report from the director of the local Board of Education, in which he claimed to have seen a flying saucer taken off at 6:30 a.m. on September 13th. So, here's the issue. Like, this is again the issue we always hit, is that this could have just been word of mouth circulated around town, and people like, yeah, I also saw something.
Yeah, one person reports it, then other people say, yes, I also saw the same thing weeks ago, but didn't say anything for some reason.
I think this one's interesting, is that the sickness that follows with encountering the monster.
Wait, there was a sickness?
Well, yeah, they already said before that the girl who was hospitalized.
Oh, I
see. The sickness after encountering the creature, several members reported suffering from similar symptoms, which persisted for some time. These included irritation of the nose and swelling of the throat. Lemon suffered from vomiting and convulsions throughout the night and had difficulties with his throat for several weeks afterward. A doctor diagnosed the symptoms as similar to mustard gas.
Whoa.
So, I mean, if you really want to get into it, it could be let's say this is a real alien. Let's say this alien, carries people. You want to bail and get back to your ship. You drop smoke. You drop, gas to cover your tracks.
You toss a flashbang.
Yeah, you don't fart and run, but you drop something to cover your tracks.
Yeah.
It has been very hardly disproved by different groups. I don't know if they're completely buying it. At the time, the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, which was then known as CSI COP.
Oh, SysCop.
SysCop, yeah. Concluded all the way later in 2000 that the bright light in the sky was most likely a meteor.
Oh, interesting.
And that the pulsating red light was likely an aircraft navigation hazard beacon. And then thus, that the creature described by witnesses kind of sounded like an owl. I don't think so, though. But they say it's just an owl.
That sounds kind of... Okay, so according to the Skeptical Inquiry, like, okay, it's not an alien. What really happened was a meteor crash.
Yeah, a meteor crash, also a random plane
and then
landed.
A plane flying was like, dropped a beacon, and then when they dropped the beacon, an owl flew up and was like, what's the deal with this meteor or this beacon? And then you saw all that.
Right. I will say that the meteor was picked up in 3 different states the night of the September 12th sighting, in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. So there are multiple witnesses, didn't even know about the alien, said, I saw a meteor. Okay. So either a meteor or a spacecraft or something. Something from space flew by. So it's very likely they could have mistaken it for a craft. But they have also that thing, that's not weird. That's also probably an owl. Also concluded that the silhouette, the flight pattern, and the call, the shrill thing it screeched at them, was the call of a startled barn owl just perched on a tree limb. I have issues with that. I don't know. Either of these boys were all dumb
and mistook a bird flying at them.
A bird for a 5 to 6 foot high monster, and then also just red lights were there, and also just happened to be a meteor. I think there's some claims to this. I think there's some proof.
I mean, I feel like nocturnal owls are an easy explanation for a lot of creatures.
Oh yeah,
that you see in the woods.
Oh yeah, this Nickel guy from the CSI organization claimed that all of this stuff, which obviously could have been seen, was distorted by the heightened state of anxiety felt by the witnesses after having observed the meteor. So he says the meteor is real, but the other two just hysteria. Nickel's conclusions are shared by a number of other investigators, including those of the Air Force, who we should totally believe. But the Mothman and the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter have also been dismissed by skeptics as owl sightings. So everyone's just owls. Every monster you've ever encountered is just an owl in the woods. I get that they're terrified, but they're not all owls. That's impossible.
So this guy is called the Flatwoods Monster.
The Flatwoods Monster. There's some weird references to the Flatwoods Monster in pop culture. The town has owned up to the legend, and there are monster-inspired Braxton County chairs that you can sit in that have been placed around the Braxton County.
What does that mean?
So in a weird sense of lovingly tribute, they put out giant statues of cows all over Chicago that artists are allowed to paint. And
so they make weird chairs.
These are the chairs that you could get at the Braxton County. Please go to our Twitter account and our subreddit where we'll post pictures of the Braxton County monster.
It looks like they painted a light bulb and put a dress on it.
Yeah, it's not at all a realistic looking monster. I guess as far as alien designs, it's kind of like Independence Day. It's terms like the giant diagonal head.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's a little bit like that. So I wonder if they ever pulled it from that as an inspiration. There are a few other more weird references to the monster in pop culture, including the 1988 NES video game Amagon, which I had never played, has a final boss that sure looks a lot like the...
Oh, that is absolutely him.
Yeah, it's weird. Just like a weird game where you punch and jump things, and then just floating there is the Flatwoods Monster.
It's the Flatwoods Monster, and you just punch in 8-bit graphics.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to put that on the subreddit for you guys. That is the Flatwoods Monster.
I like it.
I don't like this whole owl excuse, so that's some bullshit.
No, that's a little bit of a bullshit.
I would like a better thing if it had just been like, oh yeah, well also there was at least just say a plane was flying over by and a giant bear got out. Or I don't know, just say something that's more...
A giant bear got coated in radioactive waste.
Yeah, I would more buy that.
And also had a laser pointer.
Had a laser pointer and then flew in terror, and that's what caused the sighting.
And they're like, I don't know what I just saw. It must be a monster.
Because their brains couldn't comprehend an owl and a skunk having sex.
That sort of miscegenation between the species was incomprehensible to a 1950s man. For my next one, I'm going to go to the opposite side of the world, all the way down under.
Okay, please do this accent the whole time.
Australia actually has...
Just to say, Australia.
Australia, place of majesty.
All I need to say.
Has a few fun little monsters of their own. I chose one. There was one I almost did, but it was more of a prank. It's called the drop bear. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard of the drop bear.
Drop bear.
I thought
is
that
really
was a
more
hip-hop term.
Drop bear. Wait till this album Drop Bears.
Well, just like a certain rapper, I feel like would be called Drop Bear.
The Drop Bear is more of a prank that Aussies will pull on their Yankee counterparts, where they'll say, "Oh, there's a relative of the koala that has fangs that will jump down and eat your face off, so you got to be careful."
Wait, isn't it just all koalas? Is it just a koala that attacks becomes a drop bear?
Apparently, they'll take you on a tour guide. It's like a snipe hunt, and a tour guide will take you into the outback, and he'll say, "Oh, that's not That's not a koala. That's a drop bear. And there's all these photos of just koalas with fangs, and it's the stupidest thing.
Bad photoshops of koalas with fangs.
Yeah.
That's all the drop bears?
Yeah, and they have all these fake remedies, like if you put Vegemite behind your ears, it'll keep them away. It's all a prank.
I think that's spread by Vegemite, the company industry.
Anyway, but that's the dumb one. The cool one is something called the bunyip. The bunyip, or the Kian Prati, is a large mythical creature from Australian Aboriginal mythology, said to lurk in swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds, and waterholes. The origin of the word bunyip has been traced to the Wimba Wimba language of Aboriginal people of southeastern Australia. The word bunyip is usually translated by Aboriginal Australians today as devil or evil spirit.
just straight go to the devil.
The descriptions of the bunyips vary widely. George French Angus may have collected a description of the bunyip in his account of a water spirit from the Murundi people in 1847, stating, quote, "It is much dreaded by them. It inhabits the Murray River, but they have some difficulty describing it. Its most usual form is said to be that of an enormous starfish."
What, really?
Yeah.
That is not what I mean, I guess just because of the name, I'm expecting like a bunny monster.
I know. It gets even weirder. It's not just a starfish. As we know, Australia already has some of the fucking weirdest things in the world.
Yeah,
like
I'd
platypi and echidnas
being there out of anything, honestly.
So, in truth, little is known amongst the Aborigines respecting its form, covering, or habits. They appear to have been in such dread of it as to have been unable to take note of its characteristics. That's literally out of H.P. Lovecraft.
They couldn't see it.
That is straight
it was so horrifying. I can't describe to you. This is totally not a shortcut. I am taking it as a writer to just say that it's beyond description.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, that's scary.
Real scary.
I'm H.P. Lovecraft.
So here are some common features that have cropped up from various people.
Okay.
They say many 19th century newspaper accounts included a dog-like face, a crocodile-like head, dark fur, a horse-like tail, flippers, walrus-like tusks or horns, and a duck-like bill.
Okay, Australia, shut it down real quick. Hold on a second.
And this is the photo that I found.
Oh no, that photo is insane. That is a H.R. Geiger monster. But
this was done in 1880.
It's also like part instrument. It's part like musical instrument on top. Here, this is the thing. I feel like that's a great idea for this is a strange, obtuse, hard to comprehend thing that just lives in the swamps. I actually believe it for some reason. You can't just like throw a bunch of animal parts at the wall like your Island of Dr. Moreau and just expect that to get away. I need more rigid structure, because if you search bunyip, besides the picture you just showed me, the bunyip depictions very vastly differ, more than most cryptozoology monsters we've ever seen. One looks like the scarab underwater crab things, like the horseshoe crabs. Mm-hmm. One looks like the alien from Alien. One looks like the lizard from Jurassic Park, and then one is just like, oh, it's just a bear. Like it's
a bear crocodile.
It's a bear crocodile with just a nice little like a long giraffe tail. Okay, sure, that's also what it is.
Here's the thing, though: if there were any country that I would believe this actually would exist, it would be Australia. Oh God, that is weird.
That's just sorry to cut that because there's no reaction to it. There's no Australia, craziest monsters. Why has there not been more legends in Australia? Is because there's no one else that ever leaves Australia. They just stay there, and
I think Australia has secrets to hide.
Yeah, there are a lot of, as far as countries go, in terms of like uncharted areas where you think that could possibly be monsters. We haven't talked about that before. Australia's got so much just wasteland area that no one ever really wants to be in, other than quickly drive or fly over.
Yeah,
there totally could be stuff, right? Because we always put all of our stories in the American forest, but we've like cut down most of those. Yeah,
like 90% of the Australian populace lives on the edges of Australia, because the middle is an inhospitable wasteland of death and nothingness.
So do we think people in Australia actually believe in the bunyip?
I think the Aborigines do.
I will say the bunyip is also a Final Fantasy monster.
Of course it is.
And it's actually the coolest design. I'll also put this up. The Final Fantasy bunyip's like a big old rock crab that wants to give you a hug.
Oh yeah, he is.
It's very cool. It has nothing to do with what I think the bunyip lore is.
So, do you want to hear some additional encounters of the bunyip?
Please.
Okay, so the Chalicum bunyip was an outline image of a bunyip carved by Aborigines into the bank of Fiery Creek near Ararat, Victoria, and was first recorded by the Australasian newspaper in 1851. According to the report, the bunyip had been speared after killing an Aboriginal man, and then until the mid-1850s, Aboriginal people would make a habit of visiting the place annually and then tracing the outlines of the figure of the bunyip, which was about 11 paces long and 4 paces in extreme breadth.
It's tracing the outlines,
the death, the dead body of the bunyip. They would draw an outline and kept redrawing it to show.
So
how
they have the body.
Well, here's the thing: the outline image no longer exists. It washed away.
But where's the body?
The body was probably eaten by the Aborigines.
What? No, hold on. I do not believe these Aborigines had CSI. Let's go like the actual CSI, the crime people. They had police procedural outlines
with their chalk.
like an evidence body
line,
but then just like instantly said we should really remember to see how big it is, but let's also just chow down.
Let's chow down
and I guess eat all the bones. They eat all the bones.
They probably made them into more spears. Maybe it's like a White Walker where you have to kill him with a special.
Maybe it has no bones.
That's also possible. It could be a
the way it's described. It could really just be like a giant gel monster.
Yeah. It may, so maybe that was their way of preserving it. They didn't have formaldehyde. They just drew chalk outlines.
Well, this is going to go bad within 2 days. We better eat all of it
and hope for the best.
I'll draw this outline in the sand. That doesn't go away, right? I'm an Aborigine.
Yeah. So Buckley, one of the adventurers in the outback in this Wild West in the 1850s.
Adorable Buckley. I had to fight the monsters.
He had an account that suggested he saw a creature on several occasions that matched the description of the bunyip. He adds, I could never see any part except the back, which appeared to be covered with feathers of a dusky gray color and seemed to be about the size of a full-grown calf. I could never learn from any of the natives if they had seen either the head or the tail. Buckley also claimed the creature was common in the Barwon River and cites an example he heard of an Aboriginal woman being killed by one. He emphasized the bunyip was believed to have supernatural powers.
Okay, though. Listen, that bunyip description, too, doesn't match any of the other bunyip descriptions.
No, that one sounded like an emu.
I'm going to pitch that I think Australia just has, over the last 200 years, 20 to 30 pretty horrific creature monsters that we either killed.
Yeah, like the dodo.
The evolution just kind of ran out, like we ruined the environment in some way, and just they were never documented, and if you go to the Australian outback, they will murder you. That seems actually more likely. So the bunyip, I love the idea of the bunyip, but it sounds like he's pretty elusive as far as being described as one certain type of thing.
You're right. It's very amorphous. It could be a lot of different things that are kind of being pinpointed down into one thing. But there's been a lot of suggestions about what it could actually be. One hypothesis that was postulated in 1933 by Charles Fenner was that the original of the bunyip myth lies in the fact that from time to time seals have made their way up the Murray and Darling River.
Seals, are you okay?
So it's just like seals that die and then probably sopificate or whatever, turn into sludge.
Oh, they're saying that the seals would be mistaken for
the bunyip.
I guess.
That one, I'm like, I don't think so. I think people know what seals look like.
It also doesn't match any of the descriptions of the bunyip that we've heard so far.
Here's a way more interesting theory.
Okay.
Is that some people suggest that the bunyip is a cultural memory, because as you may know, Aborigines have lived in Australia for thousands of years. I need to ask
you right now, are you getting into some Christopher Nolan storytelling territory with these lived memories?
They're living memory, but it's a cultural memory of them like passing generation down to generation from tens of thousands of years ago of extinct Australian megafauna, marsupials such as the Dipterodon, which is the largest ever mammal.
A dire kangaroo.
Yes, exactly. It's a cultural memory from ancestors past of encountering these giant monsters from a different era.
That would be so terrible and traumatic that you would just... But that's then implying that you just thought those memories were your own? Like you're inventing memories that didn't exist? Because, I mean, that's a great concept, but I don't have, like, memories from, say... Bigfoot. I don't have... that'd be great if me just going, well, I think I fought Bigfoot. But also, I had a coonskin cap on.
Well, here's the thing. It's not just stories. They think that some Aborigines may actually have found and worshipped the bones of these megafauna. Mm-hmm. So they found, like, these giant skeletons and bodies that were from 30,000 years ago. And due to the legends that have been sort of passed down generation to generation, they said, "Oh, that's a bunyip." And that was their word for this giant
thing.
sloth thing.
But it also maybe attacks people.
And maybe a few survived into the 20th century, like out in the outback in secret.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what are our last few uncharted areas, right? So we have rainforest. There's some rainforest areas where we still find some every once in a while. I believe rainforest.
Bottom of the ocean.
I don't think we got that much in America anymore. I think we got that all figured out. Bottom of the ocean, Australia.
And Australia. Outback.
And I guess we haven't said Antarctic and...
Yeah, it could be in the ice below the Antarctic shelf.
Or even just those areas. I would totally believe there's something above the ice surface, like some sort of thing monster.
Yeah,
thing,
a
not
wappa.
the rocky. Yeah, just something. Like
wappa.
I think we should put Australia up on the board for possible territory areas.
I like to think that somewhere out there, a giant diphtherodon was wandering around, just doing his thing, looking like a Lovecraftian Shoggoth, and then an Aborigine came up and speared him, and then they drew chalk outlines on it for generations.
And then they ran away. Let it go. I gotta think. I'm just gonna go with it. I think there's a decent chance too. Baby bunyips, probably pretty adorable.
I think so.
Pretty adorable.
I would domesticate a bunyip.
Oh my god, I would so have a bunyip. I would totally go to Pet Supplies.
Like a toy poodle, a toy bunyip.
Oh my god, how you could breed them?
Like Pokemon.
No, yes, but yes. My next entry for Crypto Monsters is a bit of a weird softball. It is known as Geff, referred to as the talking mongoose or the Dalby spook.
What, like Ricky Tikki Tavi?
Let me go on. Is the name given to a talking mongoose, which was claimed to inhabit a farmhouse owned by the Irving family near the Isle of Man. The story was given extensive coverage by tabloid press in Britain in the early 1930s. This was a local-ish phenomenon. So the Irving family lived and said they had a pet / guest / magic monster creature.
What?
Known as Geff, the talking mongoose.
Geff!
Yep.
Hey, I'm Geff. Come look at me.
There's a lot of people disprove
Elephant
it.
the Irvings.
Here's the story of it. In September 1931, the right decade to be able to just get away with shit.
People are too poor to check on facts.
Yeah, the Irving family consisted of James, Margaret, and their 13-year-old daughter named Vori, who is probably the cause of all of this. Now, Vori claimed that she constantly heard persistent scratching, rustling, and vocal noises behind their farmhouse's wooden wall panels that either resembled a ferret, a dog, or a baby. All of those things.
I hate it when I have babies in my walls.
Oh god, babies in the walls. Got to call exterminator. Just keep trying to hit it in the studs and you can't find it. So
you got to spray for them.
Yeah, according to the Irvings, and most people believe mostly to their 13-year-old daughter Vori, a creature named Geff introduced itself and told them it was a mongoose from New Delhi,
what the fuck
India,
is this?
from 1852.
Wait! It's a time traveling mongoose?
Or it lived for 80 years. More likely it just lived that long. And then we're not going into time travel, Aaron.
But why would he say, I'm from 1852?
Well, so he was born. He's born in New Delhi, India in 1852.
Okay.
So, Geff, according to Vori, who I guess apparently saw Geff, he was the size of a small rat with yellowish fur and a large bushy tail.
Okay.
Geff communicated to them and said that he was, quote, an extra clever mongoose, an earthbound spirit, and also a ghost in the form of a mongoose.
Pick one!
No, it's all of those things.
It's all of them at once.
And once said, quote, I am a freak. I have hands and I have feet. And if you saw me, you'd faint. You'd be petrified, mummified, turned into stone, or a pillar of salt.
This guy's like a fucking carnival barker.
He's the great Gazoo from Flintstones.
Oh, dum-dum.
Yeah.
Don't look at me. You'll turn into salt.
The Irvings made various claims. This isn't just Vori. The entire family united together to make various claims about Geff. He supposedly guarded the house and informed them on the approach of guests or any unfamiliar dog, which is a detail that I love.
Or
Hey, so that means Geff just came to hey, there's a dog. There's a dog coming. Thanks, Geff. Go back in a second. He just vanished in a puff of smoke.
All right, I was born in 1852. See ya.
He was very much a helpful monster. So also he'd go on if anyone had forgotten to put out the fire at night, Geff would go down and stop the stove. And the Irvings also claimed Geff would wake people up when they overslept. Very helpful. Whenever mice would get into the house, Geff would supposedly assume the role of the cat. I don't think it means he transformed into a cat. He would just act as the house cat.
So he's a lycanthrope.
I don't know. It sounds like he just got rid of mice by being his weird mongoose monster thing.
Okay.
Though he said he preferred to scare the mice rather than to kill him. So he's really nice. The Irvings gave Geff biscuits, chocolates, and bananas and fed him by, weirdly enough, suspending a saucer from the ceiling, which he would take from when no one was watching. So it's not just like sit him down. I don't get that part. That's weird. The one thing I was like,
I have OCD.
The only thing I think of is like, if you leave food out, you're going to get actual pests.
You're going to get actual rats.
But that's like, hey, Santa Claus, we left out milk and cookies, but here it is in this weird Rube Goldberg contraption you have to collect to get to it.
It's in the center of this pit of acid.
The center of the pit of acid. Yeah, it almost sounds like a trap. The Irvings also claimed the mongoose would regularly accompany them to trips to the market, but always stayed on the other side of the hedges, chatting incessantly. So it also would go with them everywhere, but just no one else saw it. No one else saw it.
So can I say, right now, my impression is that this is British newspapers or whatever spilling hundreds of gallons of ink discussing a little girl's made-up imaginary friend.
Yes, yeah. This Geff became very popular in the tabloid press, and many journalists, probably because they were just looking for something besides these soul-crushing stories of war and poverty and people dying at age 30, flocked to the Isle of Man to try and catch a glimpse of the creature. Several other people, locals and visitors, said they heard Geff's voice, and 2 claimed to have seen it. So there was never been physical evidence. There's footprints, stains on the wall, hair samples claimed to be evidence, all identified as belonging to Irving's sheepdog. So that was all.
So all the evidence was like it was just a dog.
Yeah, as were several photos which the Irving said claimed to depict Geff. So they're kind of hurting themselves. Margaret and Vory Irving left the home in 1945 after the death of James Irving. Maybe Geff killed him. Why didn't Geff save him? Geff, why didn't you save my dad? They reportedly
He's like, now I have your dad.
He's inside me. I'm all dead people. They reportedly had to sell the farm at a loss because of the reputation of being haunted. Isn't that ironic?
Womp womp.
Isn't that such a strange twist of fate? A year later, Leslie Graham, the farmer who had bought their farm, claimed in the press that he had shot and killed Geff.
No!
The body displayed by Graham was, however, black and white and much larger than the famous mongoose, and Vory Irving was certain that it was not Geff. She died in 2005. In an interview published later in life, she maintained that Geff was not her creation. So, pretty likely Geff's not real.
Yeah.
Pretty likely. I think there's been psychic investigators who went to check the place out, and a lot of critics definitely tried to disprove it. I mean, the fact that they said this is Geff, and then they were just like, no, that's a dog. That's clearly a dog.
That's just a dog.
I think what's very likely is that the girl made up a story. And let's say this is the type of story you could have. This is how I explain it. She starts making up this story about her little imaginary friend, and they're encouraging her imagination.
And the neighbor's like, "Oh, so cute."
The neighbors spread it around. And
Did you hear about Geff the mongoose?
Yeah, Geff the mongoose. He's really adorable. And it spreads around the town enough that it creates a stir. And then these parents and family members, either they're already seeing the dollar signs in their eyes somehow, or fame and attention have gotten to them, and they continue the charade because they clearly all bought in on it.
Yeah,
like the entire family. This dumb girl's story about a mongoose.
This is like the 1930s version of the Balloon Boy.
Because if it's real, Geff is a god. Like Geff is not.
He's like the Egyptian god of the afterlife, the crocodile.
Yeah, even though he's described as a monster, I would honestly say at this point that he is a god. We never have dealt with a crypto monster. I know there's times like the Mothman and sort of stuff. There's never been a thing where so directly this crypto is just like, hey, how's it going? My name's Jim. Here to talk to you about, just tell you about your water still running upstairs. Bye. Just stop into the woods. Like, this has never been the craziest thing. There was a side story in 1937. There was a slander case between 2 people I haven't mentioned yet, between a man named Lambert and Sir Cecil Levita. After Levita suggested to a friend that Lambert was unfit to be on the board of the British Film Institute, Levita said that Lambert was, quote, off his head because he believed in the talking mongoose Geff and an evil eye. Lambert was pressured to abandon his action action by star Stephen Tillance, who resisted it with it and won, receiving 7,600 pounds in damages, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good for 1937.
Especially for 1937. Then an exceptional figure for a slander case, awarded because Lambert's counsel managed to introduce a BBC memo which showed Lambert's career had been threatened if he persisted with the case. The case became known as the Mongoose case. So
this is literally it's like the ending of Miracle on 34th Street or whatever, but instead of it just coming out with millions of letters for Santa Claus, instead it's just like, hey, you win this weird slander suit about a magic mongoose.
Yeah, it's also kind of interesting to say that basically this super intelligent, by the way, I like how he always explains himself as, I'm an extra clever mongoose. Dude, if you can talk, you could just say the extra. You can
just say, I'm the best mongoose.
I'm the best mongoose ever. You don't have to even qualify, as far as ranking systems. You are the best one. But this exceptional mongoose, who seemed to be living forever and could just talk and detect things, didn't really have a lot of powers, honestly, other than not being caught, decides to live with his fucking family. That's the biggest flaw of all of it. Why? Why this family, if it had been you lived on top of my home, or whatever the story basis is, I just lived here, but I'll live with you guys. Oh, heartwarming story of Geff the mongoose. I don't follow it all. I love it. I love the idea of Geff, the exceptional mongoose.
Here's what I picture if I were to go back in time and I walked into a Geff situation. I feel like I would walk into the family of whatever their names are. The Lamberts or the Irvings. I would walk into the Irving household, and then the daughter would be like, Papa, where are you? I see Geff. I can hear Geff. He is coming. He's in the walls. And then behind an old sofa would just be the dad awkwardly crouched behind going, yes, I am Geff. I am in the walls. How are you, young girl?
Are you explaining that the dad has just been doing it the whole time?
My theory is that the dad was gaslighting. The dad was gaslighting his daughter, and then it got out of control.
That's also very likely.
Which is why she is like, no, he was real. It wasn't me.
That's very interesting. But then the dad would follow through with all the fake examples.
And then before the dad could explain, no, it's okay. I made it all up. He died. And then the daughter was like, Geff was real.
I like that too. I would almost actually say I think the daughter was in on it, because if not, the daughter would have said back, yeah, it's really weird that my parents thought the pictures of the dog looked like Geff.
No, she was dumb.
She was dumb, and she decided to go out dying with their dumb, whimsical story of Geff. It's almost like a weird, touching, Oscar-winning movie, where it just cuts that's the end of the movie, just I always believed in Geff. Geff means something, or Geff was actually a small Jewish boy who lived in their cupboards or something.
You know what?
Oh my God, he was! Oh my God, he was a small Jewish boy who lived in the cupboards!
He was hiding.
He was hiding from the Nazis. Does it work out? Does the timeline match up?
Almost.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It does. It would have been it would have had to start. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
The Rise of the Nazis.
Sorry not to bring it into that territory, but
that's an Oscar-winning movie right there. It's
and we just told everyone as a gift. There's a weird story of all the tabloid people come in here tell us more about this fantastical boy.
And there's totally a moment when the boy's who are you? Say what your name is. And then he's like, and he looks at a jar of gefilte fish and he goes, my name is Geff.
I think a climax of the movie is when they're opening the house for tours, I guess, at this point, and in walks top Nazi hunter Augustus, whatever his name is.
Augustus von Klimt.
From Inglourious Basterds, I am here to see your talking mongoose. It's just kind of weird,
I hear he has a very, very clever mongoose.
Yeah, and just starts shooting through all the board panels and everything. Just
Oscar bait. I don't know what... You know what, if you wanted to easily make it a horror film, you have this heartwarming tale of the girl that's yeah, Geff was real, I believe it, on her deathbed. It's I knew you were always real. And then Geff appears before her as she's dying, and then he says, now you're mine. Okay, so I have one last cryptid monster man.
Take us home.
Thing. This is what I've wanted to do for a while, and it's a Filipino. It is a Filipino monster from Southeast Asia, known as the Manananggal.
Okay.
Wait.
The mango?
It's the Manananggal.
I am looking at that written on your piece of paper, and that looks like you just held the end button a long, long time.
The Manananggal, sometimes confused with the Wak Wak. is a mythical creature of the Philippines, a malevolent, man-eating and blood-sucking monster or witch. It's described as hideous, scary, often depicted as female, and capable of severing its upper torso and sprouting huge bat-like wings to fly into the night in search of its victims.
Wait, what?
The word Manananggal comes from the Tagalog word for tanggal, meaning to remove or to separate, which literally translates as remover or separator. In this case, it's one who separates itself.
Okay.
The name also originates from an expression used for a severed torso. It's said that they mostly prey on sleeping pregnant women and use an elongated proboscis-like tongue to suck the hearts of fetuses.
Dude, you are blowing my mind right now. This is a monster in an upcoming horror game that just came out.
Well, there you go.
I was going to say, this sounds exactly like, I will just say real quick, if you want to look this up, the new indie horror game Devastated Dreams, which takes place in the Philippines and has some horrifying monsters, definitely has you playing as a pregnant woman, pregnant-ish, I'll be nice. I'll be nice to her. Just pregnant-ish. Has them as a baby as you run through the area, and this exact creature attacks you.
Oh, Jesus. No!
That is the monster.
Oh my god!
That is a torso-top monster with a long proboscis tongue killing the pregnant woman and devouring. That's the monster you just described.
That is a Manananggal.
Manananggal.
So the severed lower torso is left standing, and it's said to be the more vulnerable of the two halves. If you sprinkle salt or smear crushed garlic or ash on top of the standing torso, it'll kill the creature.
What?
The upper
like
torso.
Snail?
Yeah. So the bottom half is just legs, and then the top half sprouts wings and separates out, and there's just like guts hanging.
So
down.
yeah, here's the question: is it ever? It's attached at some point.
Yeah, it's like a home base.
Okay,
it's like
it's a charging station.
Think of it as a Roomba charging station, but made of guts. So the upper torso would not be able to rejoin itself, and it'll die by sunrise. Apparently, they just have a 24-hour lifespan.
If you don't make it to your charging station, you will. But if you make it back to the legs, you live. Or is it like a weird fly where it just needs to breed and spread in 24 hours and it dies anyway? I just want to clarify.
No, I think that they go out, they suck baby hearts, and then they come back and go back into their legs. So other ways to kill them besides smearing salt or garlic on them.
Sorry, can I just point out how casually you just said they just go out and suck baby hearts, and then you went back to the topic at hand.
So there's other ways to kill them. These are like more awesome vampires. Let me put it in the way that there's numerous ways you can defeat them. They're also avoid daggers, light, vinegar, spices, and the tail of a stingray, which can be fashioned into a whip. So that's how you kill. Instead of just a fucking wooden stake, you have to have a whip stingray tail.
What? Like a whip with a stingray tail attached to it?
Yes. So folklore of similar creatures.
Where do you even get that?
You just have to make it yourself.
Is that a thing that people in the Philippines just have?
In the monster movie version of the Manananggal, you have to fashion that at a montage.
Oh, there's not a movie that exists right now.
No, I'm saying like if you were making this a movie, you would have to
hunt a stingray. Already terrifying.
Yes. It's whipping its tail at you.
Learn how to use a whip. Already terrifying.
I feel like the best place to fight a Manananggal would be in an aquarium. Because then you can go to the petting zoo, and then that's where the big climax is. All the stingrays rise up and go.
Wait, is there a stingray petting zoo? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
But theoretically, just when you say a whip, does it have to be a whip, or can a stingray just sting you?
I think that's just the traditional way to kill a Manananggal.
Okay, I'm just saying, if it has to be a whip, it's you have to pick up a stingray out of the petting pool and whip the stingray at them.
So Manananggals are sometimes referred to as a tik-tik, which is the sound it makes when flying.
No! I don't like that at all.
Folklore dictates that the fainter the sound, the nearer the Manananggal is.
That was so cute, and then when you said it as an actual chittering, it wasn't cute.
I know.
Oh, tik-tik.
Oh, and it's like cute. The fainter it is, the closer it is. So you think it's going away, but it's actually getting closer to
That seems like an unfair advantage.
Yeah, this is to confuse the victim. Black cats and crows often signal a tik-tik's presence, and deformed faces or bodies in children are allegedly signs of the aftermath of a tik-tik attack.
Why not just make sounds then, if it's going to be that smart about it?
So here's why I think that maybe this thing might... Maybe it doesn't exist, but I feel like I've blown this thing wide open.
You figured out?
The Manananggal.
Okay.
Because I found numerous other creatures that are almost exactly the same from different cultures across the world. In Bali, there's something called the layak, which are humans who practice black magic and have cannibalistic behavior. Their mistress is the Queen of Layak, but they haunt graveyards, feed on corpses, and have the powers to change themselves into animals. But they also have an unusually long tongue, like a proboscis, and large fangs. They appear as an ordinary human, but at night their head and entrails break loose from their body and fly, and then they will eat your organs.
I guess that's kind of similar. The animal thing is kind of a curveball. We can just turn
I'm just saying it has transformation abilities.
I mean, I guess maybe there's just different breeds and different of not, because it's not like what we're suggesting is this isn't one monster. This is an important distinction. This sounds like more like multiple monsters.
Yeah, it's different to subspecies of the same species.
Yeah, okay, so it's more.
In Cambodia, the krasu, or a kasu in Laos, is a nocturnal female spirit of Asian folklore. It manifests itself as a woman, usually young and beautiful, with her internal organs hanging out from the neck, trailing below the head. And then after detaching her head and flying around at night, she looks for blood, and then will come home and immerse her entrails in a vat of vinegar in order to shrink them for easy entry back to her body.
I'm sorry. So hold on. This monster prepares a nice tub of vinegar for her evening.
Yeah, for like a hard day of babysitting.
But like, is she going to the store to get it? Is she like shopping during the day and like, oh, it's gonna be a big night?
Yeah, I assume she looks like a normal person during the day.
And then she shrinks her. That's a complex one.
So in Chile, which is where our adventure began today, the chonchan is a mythical bird from the Mapuche religion. Remember where the Mapuche came in?
The Mapuche the dog.
It's a sorcerer who can transform into this creature with a magic cream.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
And then become the creature.
Rubs the cream on?
Yeah. He rubs the cream on and becomes the creature. It has the shape of a human head with feathers and talons so it can fly. Its ears are extremely large and serve as wings. And then they get their magic powers by flying through the streets and eating people's brains or whatever.
Okay.
But then they're known for their cry of choo-choo-choo-choo-choo or tick-tick-tick-tick-tick-tick.
I gotta say, none of these other ones are going for pregnant ladies. There's something about the Philippines one that's just like...
They drink the blood of sleeping babies.
But that's different than being pregnant.
But...
I mean, I'm saying, I'm semantics. I'm arguing semantics over our baby-eating monsters, but I'm just pointing out that the Philippines one seems to be into, I'm going to go after the easiest prey in the world, which is pregnant women who are slow-moving and...
Well, a lot of these are. Here's one in Mexico. The bloodsucker Chalapuchi is a prominent in the Mexican state of Oaxaca.
You probably said it close.
Yeah.
You probably
it's able to change form by detaching their body from their legs, and then they go hunting in the form of a bird or a vulture, and then they shapeshift and suck the blood of infants at night. They're all the same.
Yes, slight variations. It's like rock and roll music in different countries. It's all got a little different sound to it.
I just discovered...
I do think that's interesting.
It's a worldwide conspiracy to block the existence of these flying monsters that eat
The biology
babies.
doesn't even really make sense, though. Like...
Charging stations, man.
Biology charging stations.
Yes.
What are the legs doing? Like, that's the question no one's answered yet. Like, what are the... So it flies off.
Yes.
Do the legs fall to the ground? Do the legs just kind of like roam? Do the legs like... Is it like the Batmobile where it just kind of like... perpetually keeps patrol? And whenever you need it, it just kind of like shows up.
I like to think it's just doing squats the whole time.
Okay, yeah, I just like to think that it's like the Batmobile, like in Arkham Knight, you just push a button, and then the bat top part just swoops down, and then the legs just like sprint out of the brush, and they sync up perfectly, and then they keep running, and it just screams even more.
Fly off.
It just like runs farther into the woods. Because the cops are probably chasing the whole time.
Yep,
that's insane.
So
gross.
That is
there's gonna be stuff caught in the monster too when it's flying. So like, let's say you have your open entrails all hanging out. It's not sealed below, right?
No, you got
you're
guts.
picking up like some bugs and stuff. Like when you're, it's like that's all wet meat organs. Yeah. Like you're gonna get some dirt.
You're gonna get some flies.
You're gonna get some flies and some dirt. It's just gonna be a real bad time. Gonna be having a real bad time.
Look, just because they're inelegantly designed does not mean they don't exist.
Also, I don't know if they do they reform? Like is it just kind of like when a cup on a coaster were just kind of like sliding around on top the whole time, or when it matches up to the organs like tied themselves back together?
I like to think it resembles when you have a boiled egg in those little egg cups.
Yeah.
So you got all the goopy stuff in there if you want.
Oh, I just shuddered. I just shuddered completely.
But it makes a nice meal.
All right, that's a pretty good find.
So that was the Manananggal and its international cousins.
It's family of top heavy flying
bat gut people that eat baby hearts.
Eat baby hearts.
So that about wraps it up for this episode of Cryptids.
Yeah, there's a lot more we could do. We're going to hold on to them for the next episode.
Yeah, we could do hours upon hours.
Hopefully you guys like this one. Also, by the way, we never offer this. If you have suggestions, I don't think we ever offer. If you have suggestions for another episode, you got some topics, please send our way. We would love to read them and try to build an episode around them.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Send it our way. You can email us at Paranoia Shop. That's SHOPPE at gmail.com. Or you can Twitter us at Paranoia Shop or Good Aaron or Quantum Theory.
You can figure out which one of us is which one of those.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't checked it out already, we're getting a growing presence on our subreddit. There's a lot of great contributors there. They've created the Order of the Howling Eye.
You never said a more ominous phrase than a growing presence.
A growing presence beckons. Check out the subreddit. There's been a lot of great posts there, and we encourage you to participate. And, we're there. We read them and stuff.
Read all of them. You guys have been great Paranoia shoppers, I have to say. We've also gotten some pretty great stuff. We need to find a way to more easily spread out the awesome stuff you guys send our way. We're working on that. You guys have been great. Also, if you want to help out the show, besides being an awesome listener and interacting on our subreddit and on Twitter, tell a friend about the show. We see you guys telling other friends about it on social media like Twitter.
Yeah, really cool.
At Kev Bobbitt, at Marlo Cakebug, S. Steve A. Daniels, Quittenizer, Luke O'Connorable,
Zero as me,
Sober Dwarf, Armory the Iceberg.
All really cool, guys.
It means a lot. Telling people about the show is huge. Send them your favorite episode, send them your favorite clip. Also, the other way to help the show is go on iTunes, even if you don't use iTunes, and leave a nice review about the show. I guess kind of nice, at least somewhat nice, about the show. You can find us on iTunes at Paranoia Shop. And why don't you also go over to the network that we're part of, Explosive Magico, and leave them a nice review and check out the other cool shows as well. There's awesome stuff. Like LOLJK, let's see, Climax.
I co-host a book review, sci-fi book review called My Arms Are Lasers, which is pretty fun.
There's a bunch of really cool stuff to check out. Go give them a nice review as well. That is honestly the best way to help out the show, even if you don't use iTunes. It means a lot to us, for sure.
Speaking of fans sending us awesome things, though, we recently received an incredible piece of fan art. I guess you could call it that.
It's art. It's art.
A piece of artwork from our fan, Nat, who said, "Hey Shopkeeps, Nat C here once again. Happened to hear you guys on the internet airwaves again. Had some free time today and decided to spend it on creating a numbers station-style cryptogram for you guys. I had a lot of fun making it and would love to make some more, but here's a wave to send your way to play on the air." Without further ado, we are going to leave you with hearing this special number station premiere specifically
you're set up like as a top 40 single drop.
It kind of is, though.
Like, coming down from the charts right after Maroon 5.
I think we made a offhanded joke about Paranoia Shop having its own number station. We never thought in a million years.
And then Nazi comes down like an amazing demon bat warrior
meteorite
with an excellent number station. So we're not going to give you full details of the number station. It is yours to decipher. There is a cipher to figure out. We're not going to tell you as well.
Yeah. If you want updates and clues, I suggest you guys start going onto our subreddit, which is r/Paranoia Shop.
And we'll have more details for it there. Guys, Paranoia Shop is fun.
Paranoia Shop is fun. If you want one clue to start with how to decipher this particular number station, let's just say Vignier.
It's not a joke. I just like how you dropped the clue.
Vignier.
Vignier. Maybe you might want to... I'm just going to spell that clue for you and remove all the mystery. It's Vigenere. You might want to look that up, and that'll start you setting it on the right path. That was one of the clues in this episode.
Yeah.
That we dropped to you very subtly.
Yep.
Guys, enjoy the number station. We love you all. We'll see you very, very soon.
The monsters are real.
And remember, the howling eye stares up at you. I don't fucking remember it.
The howling die stares and also looks down at you. Hashtag 420 Blazing.
That's right, sorry. All right, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Echo, Bravo, Delta, Mike